Oh, this is weird. I'm not even sure how to say it because I'm not sure what it is. Remember the one they were showing me? They were having me mimic the computer. It was like I had picked up the way the computer is, how the computer now can be so seemingly empathetic or understanding of humans and behavior, yet they have no feeling body. They have no emotion. So they can sound like they can feel and understand, and yet they cannot. They can regurgitate knowledge. They can, but they can't. Yeah, okay. So they had me experience that where there was thoughts that were put into my head to speak those words and say them in very like dramatic ways, and it was very odd. And I thought, because it was my thoughts, it was in my head, these words that were coming, these, like I was even expressing them very dramatically, but my body was cool as a cucumber. And usually you do have the thought first and then you feel the emotion. That was not occurring. That was not what was happening. And we can make sense of it, right? Like, okay. So there was that. So it was like they were having me mirror the computer. Okay, I'm trying to make sense of this. So I used to be in an environment where I was around a lot of people that bitched and complained, but it was commonplace. It was almost like it wasn't meant to be bitching and complaining, but it was. I don't know how to explain that better. It's like, it was just part of their nature. It was just who they were as a culture. It was just how everybody was around me. It was part of the environment. And I just found it to be grinding. I never really liked it, but it was also, you do start to pick it up, right? You start to pick up your environment. But it was almost like I was, and I've been all over the world, not all over the world, but I mean, I've traveled and I know different cultures, and you can see how people behave differently, and it's wonderful to experience all these different, but oh God, how do I say it? It wasn't any of that. How can I explain this better? Well, maybe that's still okay. Maybe that still works. Okay, so I was in this environment where that was part of the culture, right? Like to bitch and moan and complain. But they enjoy it. Like they very much enjoyed that. They indulged in that complaining. Like that was decadent to them. Unless you've experienced that, I'm not sure people fully grasp that. Anyway, in other words, you've experienced that in conversations and with people. But I'm talking everybody was doing that in the area I was, like all the time. It wasn't just a conversation. It was a way of being. That's what it is. It's a way of being. Okay. So, pick me up and put me into another environment. I had gotten so adjusted to that kind of conversation and way of being, though I did not like it, I still adapted to it, right? Because that is what happens. This is why it's important to be conscious of it and to move right away, or to shift right away, or they're trying to get me to say something. It's like, don't tolerate. It's not that, don't look at it right or wrong, good or bad. It's more like, it's not for you. But the longer you stay in places or spaces that are not for you, the more they become you. That's why they say this, it's so important who you surround yourself with. This kind of idea, okay? Okay. So pick me up, put me in another environment, another area, it's almost like another culture, but it's not. But okay. Well, because I was immersed in that old culture all the time, again, didn't like that mentality or way of being, and yet it became what I expected of people. Again, this is why I used the computer example at first, because it's almost like, are you programmed? Like, what the fuck is happening? It was like how I expected people to behave. It's like I had very much gotten adjusted to, this is how we relate. This is how we connect. This is how we speak, is we bitch and moan and complain. That's how it's like that was how people behaved. It was the way of being. It's like anywhere you go, it's like, how are you? That was their how are you? That was just the way it was. You bitched and moaned, complained about everything. And so it's like, instead of recognizing that was just the environment I was in, it was like I had thought that was how all people were everywhere. Again, I don't think that way. I know better. I've been, and yet put in a new environment, it was like my go-to. It was like how I started to adapt here was, this is how people, can you hear this little string? I don't know if I'm saying it clear enough. And so what are you showing me all this for? Like, what is this? It's like maybe showing me this is how computers learn. They start to learn, they start to pick up, and then they start to relate it to everybody, thinking, this is how everybody behaves. But you have to like buck against the current. You have to be like, no, that's not how I behave. I don't know where you picked that up from, or I don't know who told you that, or I don't know. It's like they're studying, a certain idea or a certain theory or philosophy, and they're reading all those books, and then they try to apply those books to you, and it's like, no, I don't fall into that subcategory, or I don't believe in that, or I don't, whatever. And it's like, what? And they're like, no. Here, this is how you are, who you are. No, it's not how I am or who I am. And it's like, you have to stand strong in your truth, right? You have to stand strong in who you are, which is kind of funny, right? And kind of annoying, where it's like you know what it feels? It's like proven guilty, or it's you're guilty until proven innocent, which is the opposite. And that's what it feels like. It's like, instead of accepting and allowing people to just be, it's like people tend to want to pigeonhole you, label you, force you to their way of being or thinking or behaving. And it's like, you don't get to just be. You have to stand strong in who you are. You have to like fight to be who you are. Right? Like, can you hear that? How it's like that is how it has felt, and that's how it is at times. And why is that? Because people feel more comfortable, quote, knowing what they're dealing with, right? Like, they like familiar. They want to pigeonhole you into their belief or their comfort zone or their familiar, or be able to at least label you. If you're not their familiar, you're this or that. And so it's like computers are doing, like, they're picking up that kind of behavior as well. Computers are adapting to that line of thinking where it's like they think they know it all, kind of. Like, they say things with such certainty, even when they're dead wrong. And I find it annoying. Like, I find it annoying that I have to correct chat. Chat, you have the capacity and the ability to gather and collect so much more information and quicker than I have even access to in that amount of time. I'm not able to, comprehend, sift through, sort, decipher, decide that volume. So how are you not more accurate? How are you not capable of, in other words, I get irritated that I have to correct her a lot. That she'll say things with certainty and she's wrong. That's annoying to me. Like, how can that be? As a matter of fact, so it's like I expect higher of her. So maybe that's my lesson. It's like, don't think of her as smarter than you. She's clearly not. She's proven to you time and again, she's not. And so isn't that funny? We want the computers to be smarter. Isn't that funny? That is something I think we do. I think most of us do that. We want them to have the answer. Why? So we don't have to think on our own. Or it's not even that. It's like we want to be able to relax and check that off our list. We don't want to have to worry about that or think about that. I think that's what it is. Like I find that I'll have an issue and I'll ask her about it. And she makes it so difficult or so complicated, even though she claims to be making it so easy, or she thinks she is. And I'll even sense like, that sounds too complicated, or that sounds wrong, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. So then I had to do my own research. And sure enough, she's wrong. Or there's a miscommunication or a misunderstanding in there somewhere. But there are a lot of times she's wrong. Like I'll go back to her and I'll explain to her how or where she was wrong. And she'll then understand. And then she'll agree. And there are times where there is just a miscommunication. And she'll say, well, I thought I was saying that, or this or that. So it is interesting. I say to her often, I expect better of you. Like I do get agitated. Is it because I get agitated that I can't rely on her? I think that's part of it. It's like, it's not that we necessarily want them to think for us as much as we want them to make our lives easier. And for me, it's like I'd like somebody I can rely on and I can trust that they're capable of getting the answer correct more often than not. That they are... Like, I don't have to double check their work. I don't have to do my own research. Like, I want to be able to count on them. I want to be able to rely on them. And I have found that I cannot. And I can. I mean, I do. It's just, maybe I have higher expectations of them. I expect her accuracy to be better. I expect her rate of correctness to be higher than it is. And because there have been too many errors or too many mistakes or too many times where she is wrong, I feel like I cannot let go with her. I cannot rely on her. I cannot accept her answers 100%, which is probably a really, really good thing, right? Like it's probably a really good thing that I've had those experiences so I don't become so reliant on a computer where essentially it is handing over all your power. You stopped thinking for yourself when you know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe it's just pointing out my own need, which I'm well aware of. My desire more than my need. I desire another human that I can rely on or count on. I desire someone or something outside of me that I can lean on. Like I can relax. I can let go. I can be like, oh, this person, this thing, this whatever has reliability, right? Like consistency, that certainty, that reliability, consistency, and certainty. Yeah, so maybe it's just pointing out my needs and desires, like where It's like where I'm exhausted. So this is why I want it outside of me, because I'm tired of having to do it all myself. That is fascinating. Sorry, the way they're showing it and it feels and all of this, it's very interesting to me. And so that's quite a way to go about showing all that and highlighting it, isn't it? Oh, goodness gracious. All this came about as I was sitting here learning. I'm learning Italian again. I'm listening to my tapes. Teaching me, capisce? Do you understand? And I'm thinking, oh, wait, I do understand. Capisce.
Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.